offer a blend of wellness tips and productivity hacks for working moms. I'm Anna Yakhnich, a mom and a creative planner.
Hello, and I'm Vera Mikhalchuk, a pharmacist and functional medicine practitioner. We are thrilled to bring you today's podcast about improving ADHD with functional medicine.
Yeah, functional medicine is such an exciting and innovating approach to health and healing, isn't it? And I feel like it's going to be a buzzword really, really soon. Vera, would you say functional medicine is truly a new science?
I prefer to call it a new holistic approach to treating conditions. The goal is to discover the root cause of the problem by viewing the body as interconnected system versus collection of different parts. So functional medicine also, it is firmly grounded in scientific principles and research.
Yeah, the world is constantly changing, and I'm glad to know that science is too. And functional medicine, as the name suggests, focuses on how things function, and specifically to the body and the mind and their connectedness. And it truly feels like a new frontier, isn't it?
Yes, it's still not very well known, but pioneers like Dr. Mark Hyman are getting the word out. And I hope to interview him on this podcast one day.
Why don't you add him to your vision board?
I love that idea. And speaking of the vision boards, we should totally do episode on mastering vision board building since you're so great at it.
You know what? That's a great idea. Let me put it on my notes.
Oh, let me see your notebook. You always have very stylish ones. Is that from Paper Muse?
It is. Thank you.
Very nice.
Now let's actually get back to our topic and continue talking about functional medicine. I know I started talking to you about functional medicine a few years ago. My son, who's 3 right now, has been showing some delays in his development, and I had some concerns, and I started learning about different mental disorders and how they affect the brain, and you and I talked about it, and how functional medicine can help with ADHD. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, that's right, Anna. Functional medicine offers a unique perspective on managing ADHD, and I'm excited to share more about that today.
Yeah, me too. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to stay updated to our new episodes, and hit the like button and leave your questions and comments. And now let's get on with the show.
Yes, so to start, Anna, do you have the actual numbers on how many adults and kids suffer from ADHD? And does that number increase every year?
That's a great question, Vera. I do have the numbers. I have it in my notebook. First of all, ADHD is the most common mental disorder in children and teens. That's important to know. And it's estimated that 6 million children ages from 3 to 17 are diagnosed with ADHD. And plenty of adults are too, about 8.7 million adults in the United States alone. And that number grows year after year.
Yes, and a lot of time it goes undiagnosed, especially in women, since the symptoms can present differently in females.
That is so true. Vera, so if you can actually explain in the simplest terms, what is ADHD and how does it affect the brain?
Sure. So ADHD is a brain condition that impacts attention, behavior, and impulsivity. People with ADHD often have smaller brain size, especially kids. It can lead to reduced brain function, such as decreased blood flow and nerve connectivity. Also, they may have lower levels of neurotransmitters that regulate motivation, behavior, and attention.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what causes ADHD?
Well, currently there is they didn't discover a single cause. There are actually many factors at play that can cause ADHD, for example, exposure to environmental toxins, lack of nutrients, gut microbiome, and so on. This might be the topic for another episode, by the way, and the jury is still out since the different experts have their own theories.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a longer conversation for another time. But so I can understand, and everybody else can understand you clearly to summarize it. In other words, let's say you and I are born in the same family. We have slightly different genetics because we have the same parents, but slightly different genes coming from different parents. And since we are built the way our bodies are built, our gut flora is a little different and everything is a little different. Though we're eating the same, we're still, our body reacts to the foods and to the environment a little different, even though we're related and etc. Is that correct? Because we're different people after all.
Yes, family history actually has a role in ADHD. It tends to run in families. So research indicates that individuals are more likely to develop ADHD if they have close relatives with this condition, such as parents or sibling. However, it's not solely determined by genetics. Environmental factors in interactions with environment can influence development ADHD. So even if somebody has genetic predisposition to ADHD, it doesn't mean that they will develop this disorder. So basically, it's a very complex interaction between your genes and your environment and the way you live.
So it's nature and nurture kind of thing.
Yes, 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 that's right.
Okay. So as a mom, what symptoms should I be looking out for in my child or even myself for ADHD or even ADD since they're so related?
Right. So kids with ADHD usually have hard times sitting in the class if they're elementary school students, or they can have a hard time sitting in the circle if they're still in kindergarten. And they may have difficulty focusing on assignments. They may interrupt others. They may have difficulty waiting for their turn. Some kids will be fidgeting. The worst case scenario is aggression to others as emotional response to something like disappointment or something else. And in adults, adults can show risky behaviors or impulse buying, things like that.
Now, since you mentioned some of these symptoms, I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, my son has this, he has this, he's young, and impulse buying, I mean, hello.
Yes.
But just because, you think, your child or you have some of the symptoms you mentioned, doesn't mean you have ADHD or ADD. We should not be diagnosing ourselves. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. It's important not to self-diagnose or rely on the internet searches for diagnosis. If you have any concern for yourself or for your child, it's important to consult with professional because ADHD isn't diagnosed through one specific test. It's rather very comprehensive assessment conducted by healthcare professional who can determine if you have it or not.
Okay, good. I should not be diagnosing myself. Got
Definitely,
it.
especially not after shopping for shoes and bags.
Definitely not. Now, currently, since you are been working as a pharmacist for years and years, how does ADHD currently is treated, specific medications? And I think as a parent, we're always concerned with long-term and short-term effects of those medications.
Yes, currently ADHD is approached from different angles. So they use behavioral therapy, social skills training, psychotherapy, occupational therapy for kids.
Mhm.
And of course, if nothing works, then they resort to prescription stimulants
Right.
medication like Ritalin, Adderall. There's very many different types. These medications, the way they work in general is by increasing amount of neurotransmitters in the
Mhm.
brain,
Mhm.
and thus by increasing that amount, they provide relief from the symptoms.
Mhm.
However, they do have side effects.
Mhm.
For example, you may have a difficulty falling asleep at night, headache, increased heart rate, and in kids, the most concerning side effect, I think, would be a decrease in appetite.
Right.
So, yes, because
They're still growing.
already, yes, as a parent, we already have struggled with kids to have them eat what they should.
Mhm.
And it could impact their growth and development if they don't eat and they don't get enough nutrients. Also, as a concern for long-term side effects, adults could develop heart disease or high blood pressure. There is a chance of seizures and even irregular heartbeat.
Okay. But just to put it out there, from my understanding, that the stimulants are the most researched drug out there, and they are considered pretty safe.
Well, they are pretty safe. Of course, you should consult with your doctor how to
Mhm.
use it. Also, many kids get off the medications by adulthood, so they're
They
able to
grow out of
manage.
it.
Yeah, they grow out of it. However, medications could be very helpful if they cannot deal with school life, if their condition affects their school performance or dealing with friends. So the medications can be very helpful to just go through the stage and help them out.
Yeah. So I think from what I'm gathering, I think for quick fix, schoolwork, therapy and medication could be a short-term solution, but
Right,
a long-term solution, it would be great to find out the cause of your specific or your child's specific reason why they have ADHD. And I think that's what
right.
functional medicine comes into play. So what does functional medicine say about ADHD or ADD?
Well, as with any other condition, functional medicine will offer a personalized approach. So patient or patient's parents will partner up with the doctor to figure out and address all possible root causes for this condition. It could be nutrient deficiencies or imbalanced gut flora or exposure to toxins. Basically, they will do detective work to figure it out.
Okay, so to summarize, functional medicine involves assessing your current diet to identify if there's any potential sources of inflammation in the body,
Right.
because mental disorders or like ADHD possibly are just inflammations of the brain. Is that right?
Yes, that's one of the current theories.
Theories,
Yes.
right? Then also conducting some lab tests to find nutritional deficiencies. Also analyzing gut flora would be great, right? As well.
Right. Yes, because the gut bacteria do help to synthesize neurotransmitters. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then also evaluating environmental toxin exposures, as well as understanding your birth history and health history. And so it's a big, big puzzle that you as a practitioner or any other doctor would actually look at and discuss with the patient to start understanding the root cause and where it might be originating. Is that right?
Right. Yes, yes, you summarize it very well.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Can nutrition eliminate ADHD or just improve it?
Well, diet can definitely make a big difference in ADHD symptoms. I'm not sure it could completely eliminate it, but it could really make it easier to deal with it because certain minerals in food and also certain certain uh, neurotransmitters are produced by gut microbiome. Gut microbiome provides building blocks for neurotransmitters in the nervous system, such as dopamine, serotonin. So for the best brain function, you have to provide the right fuel. You have to feed your brain.
Right. And I think we often forget that the brain is not separate. Like it's not just,
Right,
doesn't really exist. You need to actually feed the brain. And so the gut
right.
and the brain, they are interconnected. And so if something's going on weird in your gut, it could definitely and most likely affect your brain.
Yes.
And so we need to remember that. Would you say that nutritional strategy is the same for kids and adults, or are they a little bit different?
Yes, overall strategy for kids and adults is basically the same.
Mhm.
More whole foods and less processed foods. So basically reducing sugar intake, avoiding artificial additives in the packaged food and colorants can be very beneficial. Also getting more foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids such as fish, flaxseed, and nuts.
Mhm.
Could be very good for brain. Also, many kids showed very good improvement in focus and behavior just by getting extra zinc, magnesium, and iron. So it's possible to get tested and find out if you're short on certain nutrients. So don't go out and buy all the vitamins, but get tested at your doctor's office. It's possible to uh, get the blood tested for these essential nutrients and find out if you need something. So definitely speak with your doctor and figure it out.
On a personal note, since you mentioned about certain deficiencies in zinc and magnesium and iron, my son is deficient in iron significantly and always has been. And I do notice his lack of focus, sort of not participating in group activities or reading, sitting down when we're reading, always moving and on the go. Is it possible that iron deficiency could be causing the lack of focus and attention?
Yes, actually, there were recent studies indicating that iron is very important for mental development.
Hmm.
So it could be one of the causes for the certain behaviors. They also, some of the practitioners recommend to check specifically ferritin because it shows the iron stores, and the ferritin is very low
It's
or
very
below 40 in kids. Then they recommend to work with the doctor and see what could be the cause of such a low iron and try to improve it via diet and supplements. And hey, maybe that could work.
Yeah, definitely. I've been planning to get him on some iron supplement regimen. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yes. However, one of the struggle with kids is getting them to eat foods they don't want to eat or they don't care about it. And for adults as well, it's very hard to force yourself to eat something that you should eat. Do you have any suggestions for planning your meals and dealing with this?
Oh my God, I totally hear you on that. I mean, we're adults who understand the cause and effect and what we should be doing. And for us, it's hard to change our diets, to work out, to make any lifestyle changes is hard. For kids who don't even understand why they should be eating better or not eating a cookie, that's a whole different battle altogether. So my advice and my strategies is to, first of all, of course, and it doesn't matter if it's ADHD related, if you've been diagnosed or just, if you want to implement new and healthy dietary changes for yourself or your family, is to one, talk to your doctor, get those tests done, and understand your nutritional deficiencies first and foremost. Number two, make a list of things that your family currently eating. You have to be honest with yourself. That's where it first starts, is to understanding what you're eating, and now making a list what you should be eating. Now, if the list is very different, and most likely it possibly is, where your child might be eating sugar every single day, or you eating sugar every day, or you're not getting enough fish oil or vegetables or fruits, my suggestion is not to try overhaul the diet for yourself or for your child altogether.
Right.
Like tomorrow, we're just eating different. What you're gonna run into is resistance from
Yes.
your brain. The child will
Yes.
not be happy. You will
He
get
will go on strike.
they will go on strike. They go on strike either way, but this is
Yeah.
going to be a whole different kind of situation. And even for yourself, you might be motivated for a day or two, but your brain is sort of goes on a pattern. So it's going to go back to what it's used to, what it's comfortable with, the way it's comfortable eating, what it likes to eat. So you have those lists. So instead of trying to change the diet for yourself or your family altogether, do 1% every day. So let's say if you're eating, or your child is eating sugar every day, cut it down to every other day. Then cut it down to the weekend, then cut it down to just Sunday, and then you can cut it down to a treat a month. Even if you have a little something once a
Yes.
week, that's not gonna be a reason or cause of any of your problems. So you can really just cut it down to a treat a week, and you will make significant changes to your diet and to your child's diet, as well as, having those healthy snacks around, like nuts. I think that's a
Right.
great suggestion. Having them in your
Yeah.
house, having them in your car. Also having like more protein as snacks. You have a little biscuit or a little something, and you put a little healthy, hummus or something on top of it, and creating those healthy snacks. And
Right.
I think leading by example, right? Would you say leading by
Yes.
example is also
Right.
key here?
Right. Very
Yeah,
true.
so I think those are my suggestions, is to create a plan and start slow, start small, excuse me.
Yes, it's a great idea to make a plan for meals and snacks, because good plan is a half of the battle for sure.
Yeah, and it's an important one too. So we hope you found today's episode insightful and empowering. If you have any questions or experiences you would like to share with myself or with Vera, please reach out to us. And you can find me on papermuselife.com. And Vera, you are on LinkedIn, correct?
Yes, and you can find my LinkedIn in the show notes.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.